This video is sponsored by JNC Collectibles website at jnccollectibles.com. Be sure to check them out for all your TCG needs, from sealed products to sleeves to playmats. Link is in the description box below. Thank you, and back to the video.
Hey everybody, this is Jib with Team JNC. I just got top 16 at YCS Sacramento. This is probably the last event that I'll be able to play this deck, Fiendsmith Snake Eye. Before we get started, I'd like to do some shout outs. Shout out to my team and sponsor, Team JNC. Shout out to JJ Gear TCG, one of our new sponsors. That's my arm. Shout out to JJ back in Charlotte for letting me borrow cards. Also shout out to Mike Thomas for letting me borrow cards. Also shout out to Joey for letting me borrow cards. Shout out to Gabriel Susi, my main testing partner, the person that I built the deck with. Sadly, he was not able to top, but the idea going into the event is that hopefully one of us top, because there were some things about our deck list that we didn't like, mainly about the side. I think the main deck was perfect for what we were going for, but here's what we played. We played 2 copies of Fiendsmith Engraver, 1 copy of Track. So this is a 40 card list. Most people are going over 40 and maxing out on Engine, but we wanted to stay close to 40 so we can see our specific Saga deck cards more often. So some concessions had to be made in the Engine to be able to play 18 non-Engine and 40 cards. So we had to cut down on Engine cards. So we played 2 Engraver, 1 Track. For the actual Snake Eye cards, this might look crazy, but we played 2 copies of Snake Eye Ash, 2 copies of Poplar, 2 copies of Bonfire, and 1 copy of 1-for-1. So this was our main starter engines. We felt like the deck had a lot of normal summons already in 40 cards, playing 3 Ash, so we decided to cut it down. One of the things that we wanted to do was to have multiple cards in our hand not be duplicates. That was another big thing for us. So by maxing out on certain hard once per turns, you're more liable to draw duplicates. And we wanted to be able to play with as many cards as possible, because we already understood that Snake Eye is a deck that does have a level of brickiness to it, and you're most likely going to be drawing 1 undesirable card per hand, and depending on whether or not your cards resolve or not, you're going to have multiple undesirable cards. Say, for instance, you open up Snake Ash and Bonfire, and your Snake Ash resolves, then Bonfire is a dead card in your hand. So, yeah, Snake Eye has a certain level of brickiness to it. So that's it for the Snake Eye part. And for the Diabellstar engine, we played 3 copies of Black Witch, 3 copies of Wanted. These are just it's just the best extender in the deck, so we had the max out on these. Obviously, if you open up Witch and Wanted, again, this is just another combination that isn't amazing, but it's better than the Snake Eye combinations, because at least if you open Witch and Wanted, you get a draw from Wanted if Witch resolves or you have access to Original. Then for the Snake Eye 1/0s, 1 Divine Temple, 1 Original. Nothing much to say about those 2 cards. You have to play them. For the non-engine, we split it up into 2 categories. We have the monster body hand traps, and we have the preventative hand traps. So for the monster body hand traps, which are the most important hand traps in this format, you want to, in the mirror and against Yugioh, you want to be summoning monsters during their turn to start off your turn with monsters. Putting bodies on the board is more important in this format than it has been in other Snake Eye formats. Putting bodies on the opponent's turn. So we played 3 copies of Ash, 1 copy of Magnamut, 2 copies of Druid's Worm, and 3 copies of Boldrake for our body hand drops. The Bishows were amazing. Boldrake was amazing. If you draw Boldrake with any one of these other cards, plus another spicy tech card that me and Susie played, it's just amazing. Magnamut God card, if you draw it, it just feels unfair. It's 2 bodies by itself. Then for the preventative hand traps, we have 3 copies of Ash, 3 copies of Impermanence, 1 copy of Veiler, and then for our tech card, we played 1 Ciphering Gear Gamma in the main deck. Yeah, so for this event, we were kind of afraid of Tempai a little bit. We felt that the matchup into the Boardbreaker Tempai deck wasn't amazing. And we just wanted a card like Gamma to be able to hit Shifter or Chummy in the draw phase. And we felt that Veiler was the preventative hand trap to cut, because when you get hit with Shifter, it's the worst hand trap to have. It's completely dead. Also against other matchups like Snake Eye and Yubel, this is just single-handedly the best hand trap in Yu-Gi-Oh! The only reason why it's not seeing play is because it has a 1-to-1 ratio with the brick that you have to play with it. But whenever you draw a Gamma, you just win the game. This card won me my top 32 match. I had crashed Beatrice into his Druid Swarm to clear my own Beatrice, because like people aren't thinking about stuff like that, so he just like sent my Beatrice, and then I just passed my turn with Baldrake and Gambit in hand, and then like on turn 4 he normal summoned Snake Ash effect, and then I Gambit and he passed back to me, and I was able to win on the crackback. Then for the last 5 cards in our deck are the 5 bricks of the deck. The driver for the Gamma. Then we have Lurie, Oak, Flamebear's Dragon, and Snake Eye Bell. You can't really cut these cards. The one thing about the Gamma package is that it does add a 5th brick to the deck, which kind of sucks. However, we were already ratioing drawing 1 per turn, or 1 per game in our opening 5 because we're playing 40 cards. So having like a 5% chance increase of drawing a brick, we didn't really care about it because the power level of Gamma. So we just didn't mind. For the extra deck, played for the Fiendsmith package, 1 copy of Requiem, Sequence, Moon, Lacrima, Desiree. So these are standard. Then we did play the Necroquip package, so 1 copy of Necroquip, 1 copy of Beatrice. Hopefully this card gets banned. Then for the generics, we played Anima, IP, SP, Hida, Phoenix, Promethean, Selene, and the boss monster Appaloosa. Maybe it'll get banned. I don't know. I know people want it to get banned. It's a crazy card. You always end on it. Then for the side deck, and there are 3 cards missing in the side deck because I had to give them back, and we'll talk about those. So for the hand traps, more stuff for going second in the mirror match. This is like the most broken card post side in the mirror match. It's another body hand trap. It allows you to cut down on engine because like you're drawing cards during the opponent's turn, and then when you combo this with cards like Nibiru, cards like Baldrake, it's like crazy, right? And the targeting protection, if it survives, is important for stopping cards like Impermanent Veiler. So 3 copies of Phantasme, 3 copies of Ghost Ogre. We sided this card in the mirror. It's definitely the weakest card in the mirror. It's like it's not even really a hand trap the way it's used in the mirror. It's like a board breaker, but it's really there for other matchups where it is a hand trap, like against Stun and against Tempai when they don't shift to you, and most importantly Yugioh. This card's really important for stopping opening and Nightmare Pain choke points. Then 3rd copy of Druid Swarm. Just this is our going second package against the mirror match and Yugioh. And then for the other packages in the deck, the 3 missing cards are 3 copies of Triple Tactics Thrust. So we played 3 copies of Triple Tactics Thrust, and to go with the Thrust, we played 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talents, 1 Different Dimension Grounds, and 1 D-Bear. So basically, the idea behind Thrust and these cards were we were really afraid against Tempai, and we were afraid that people were going to copy the Tempai list at €1 and not play hand traps, except for the draw phase ones. And you can't really build to beat those type of hand traps. Like Shifter, if it resolves, it kind of like beats you most of the time, unless you have like an answer to it, like a call by, a Gamma, or like a cross out for Shifter. But we didn't want to play cross out for Shifter, or at least I didn't. Susie did, but I didn't want to add another brick to the deck to put it up to 6 bricks. I just didn't feel like doing that because we're not siding out any of the bricks going second, except for Lurie sometimes. So I wanted to play Thrust. And it's just a card that, like, if they shift you or chum you in the draw phase, you can just, like, thrust into Barrier and pass, and you usually are able to survive. Or against the Yugioh deck, you can also set Barrier. That won me a game. Like, he hand-trapped me, and I set Barrier and did my combo, and it stopped him from summoning Phantom or using Fiendsmith Engine. And then against the Mirror match, we wanted Thrust to be a playable go-first card because we're not playing cross-out. So we put in Tactics, and we put in DDG. So we put in both. So if they don't summon a body hand trap like a Bishop, Phantasme, Nibiru, you can like just set DDG, and sometimes it helps you survive. Or if they do that, you can add a card like Tactics to your hand, or like what I did in top 16 game 2, even though I lost the matches, I thrusted into Bonfire after he triple hand trapped me and I won the game. But yeah, this was also kind of our way to answer Spooky Dogwood. Usually when they Spooky Dogwood you and there's 5 minutes left on the clock, it's kind of hard for you to win. I don't think you can really win those games. But we were more worried about the Spooky Dogwood when there's like 17 or 15 minutes on the clock. Because if they spooky you and there's 15 minutes on the clock, like if you don't have an answer, you have to like combo and you won't have enough time to deal damage over the course of a couple turns. But we thought that with Thrust, you can just end on like IP plus follow-up and set DDG and only give them like 1,600 life points, 2,000 life points, and just flip DDG and just have like an IP into SP. We thought that was enough. So that's for that package, and the last two cards in our extra deck were access code for the other matchups. This card goes in second every time against everything. Everything we put this card in go in second, usually taking out Beatrice. And one copy of Yugioh for Tenpai. We just wanted to have our thrust out to Tenpai, and we wanted to turn our copies of Snake Eye Ash and Bonfire into also outs to Tenpai Shifter. So we played Fuko on the side. Only summoned it once. It was okay. Yeah, but thank you guys. Definitely shout out to, once again, JNC. Shout out to my twitch.tv/Jib_YJO. Same thing with my YouTube channel. Yeah, have a great day.